Time is the greatest teacher we will ever have. It teaches us how to love, how to grow, and how to recognize the true value of life through the ups and downs, the failures and the triumphs. I've learned that life doesn't always unfold the way we expect. In our youth, we chase after big dreams and lofty ambitions, but it's only when we mature and step into the later stages of life that we truly understand what is worth cherishing. This isn't the end of the road, it's a new chapter, a time to reflect on the journey so far, learn from our mistakes, and pass on valuable lessons to the next generation. Here are the lessons I've gathered over the years. They are not only shaped by my personal experiences, but also by deep conversations with friends, family, and loved ones. These insights have transformed the way I see life and have helped me live more meaningfully, especially in this season of life. 1. You don't need to please everyone. When I was younger, I believed that to be loved, I had to make everyone happy. I would say yes to requests I didn't want to fulfill and go out of my way to accommodate others, even at the expense of my own well-being. Whenever my efforts were rejected or went unacknowledged, I felt hurt and questioned if I was somehow not good enough. As I grew older, I realized that you simply can't please everyone. Some people will never be satisfied. No matter how much you do for them, they'll continue to demand more without showing any gratitude for what you've already given. Now, I understand that instead of striving to meet everyone's expectations, I need to prioritize my own values and focus on relationships that bring joy and authenticity. Life is too short to waste energy on people who don't appreciate you. Don't be afraid to say no if it helps you maintain your boundaries. The people who truly care about you will understand that no one is perfect, and you don't have to be a superhero to deserve their love. 2. Perfection is an illusion. I once painted a perfect picture in my mind: a stable career, a harmonious family, successful children, a beautiful home, and perfect health. Whenever something didn't go as planned, I blamed myself and worried endlessly. I thought I must have done something wrong or not tried hard enough, but reality turned out to be far from what I imagined. Families have disagreements, careers face challenges, and health isn't always predictable. At first, I felt disappointed, but over time, those struggles taught me an important lesson. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Instead of chasing perfection, I've learned to cherish the little things. The laughter of my grandchildren, a delicious meal shared with family, or an afternoon spent reading under the shade of a tree. Unexpected moments, like a sudden summer rain cooling a hot day or a surprise call from an old friend, bring me more joy than any grand plan ever could. I've also come to realize that imperfection is what makes life interesting. Challenges make me stronger. Mistakes teach me lessons. And surprises remind me to appreciate the present. Rather than feeling pressured to achieve everything, I choose to savor what I have and feel grateful for a life full of color. It may not be perfect, but it's certainly unforgettable. 3. Material possessions aren't everything. I threw myself into work, believing that the more money I earned, the happier I'd be. I chased after a bigger house, a more expensive car, and possessions that I thought would earn admiration from others. But over time, those things became burdens. A larger house meant more bills. A luxury car came with costly maintenance. And my desire for material goods left me feeling perpetually unsatisfied. It wasn't until I got older that I looked back and realized that my most treasured memories had nothing to do with money or extravagant things. They were the evenings spent around the dinner table with family, filled with laughter from silly conversations. They were the warm hugs from loved ones and the simple outings with friends. These moments, priceless and irreplaceable, cannot be bought with money or substituted by any possession. I no longer chase material wealth, instead of seeking happiness in things that always feel just out of reach. I've learned to find contentment in what I already have and to invest my energy into nurturing meaningful relationships. Life has become simpler, lighter, and yet richer with genuine joy. It's not about having more. It's about appreciating the abundance already in your heart and home. 4. Breaking free from shoulds and societal expectations. I lived like a train running on tracks laid out by society. I should excel in school to make my parents proud. I should get married at the so-called ideal age. I should stick to a stable job, even when my heart longed for something else. For so long, those shoulds dictated my life, steering me away from the freedom to be myself. At this stage of life, I've come to realize that societal expectations are nothing more than limits imposed by others. They don't define my worth or determine my happiness. Each person has their own unique journey, and no one knows you better than you know yourself. I've learned to ask myself one critical question: does this bring me joy? If the answer is no, I no longer force myself to conform just to please others. Now, I live a life driven by choices that come from my heart. I no longer feel the need to keep up with anyone or check off boxes on a societal checklist. I allow myself the freedom to pursue what brings me peace, whether it's something as simple as tending to my garden, reading a favorite book, or spending quiet time alone. Living authentically has taught me that the greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to be true to who you are. You don't need anyone's permission or approval to live the way you want. This sense of freedom isn't just liberating, it's the key to true happiness. 5. Time is the most valuable asset. I often thought of time as something endless. I could procrastinate on important tasks, miss opportunities, or spend hours on meaningless activities without feeling any regret. But as I've grown older, I've come to realize that time is the one thing that can never be reclaimed. The years pass by like the wind, and the only thing I can do now is make the most of the present moment. Every morning when I wake up, I am grateful for another day to live. I choose to invest my time in things that truly matter, rather than getting caught up in useless worries. I spend time talking to loved ones, listening to old stories that still carry so much emotion, or simply enjoying the beauty of an evening sunset. I've also learned that knowing how to say no to things that don't matter is an important skill. Not every invitation, every task, or every relationship deserves your time. My time now goes toward creating beautiful memories, expressing the words of love I once hesitated to say, and savoring the small moments that I might have overlooked before. Time waits for no one, but if you learn to cherish it, you'll find that each day is an invaluable gift. 6. Unresolved conflict only hurts you. When I was younger, I often kept my anger and hurt inside. I thought that holding on to those feelings was a way to protect myself, to prove that I was strong, but in reality, those emotions were like sharp thorns, piercing my soul and hurting me every day. I came to realize that holding on to anger didn't make me stronger. It only made my heart heavier. Relationships that once meant so much to me were destroyed simply because I refused to let go. But when I learned to forgive, not to forget or condone what happened, but to free myself, everything began to feel lighter. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting the wrongdoings of others or erasing the pain they caused. It's a gift you give to yourself, so you no longer remain shackled by the past. When I forgive, I not only free myself, but also create the opportunity to build something better. I also understand that forgiveness doesn't always have to be spoken aloud. Sometimes, simply choosing to let go in your heart opens up a new path for you, a path no longer burdened by resentment, but filled with peace and relief. 7. You don't always have to be busy and productive. I used to think that if I wasn't busy, I would be useless. I lived with a packed schedule, trying to fill every gap with work, tasks, and goals to accomplish. I believed that my value was measured by the number of achievements I accumulated or the admiration I received from others. But as time went by, I realized that being busy doesn't equate to living meaningfully. Life isn't a race to check off a to-do list. True value lies in peaceful moments and simple joys, a leisurely morning with a cup of coffee and a favorite book, an afternoon stroll in nature, or simply sitting and watching the golden sunset. These are the moments that truly matter. When I allowed myself to slow down, I began to notice things I had missed before: the clear song of birds, the feeling of the cool breeze in my hair, or the gentle smile of a neighbor. Living slowly doesn't mean giving up or being lazy. It's a way to truly be present and connect with the life around you. You don't need to race to prove yourself, because the true value of each person doesn't lie in what they achieve, but in how they enjoy every moment of their life. 8. Youth is not the only peak of life. I used to think that youth was the best period of life, the pinnacle everyone wanted to hold on to forever. I spent many years regretting what had passed, from youthful looks to boundless energy. But now, as I enter my later years, I realize that each stage of life has its own beauty and meaning. Youth is filled with impulsiveness and passion, but old age brings peace, depth, and a broader perspective. When I was younger, I was pressured by the opinions of others, always worrying whether I was good enough. But now, I no longer feel the need to prove anything. True freedom comes from accepting myself, with all my flaws and accomplishments. Old age offers gifts that youth cannot. Wisdom, the ability to view things with calmness, and gratitude for the simple things. I cherish the wrinkles on my face, for they tell the story of a life well lived. Life doesn't have just one peak. It's a journey with distinct paths, each one holding its own unique beauty. The most important thing is to appreciate the present and enjoy each stage of life. Because true beauty lies in how you perceive yourself and the world around you. 9. Don't blindly trust in power or authority. I believe that those in positions of power, corporate leaders, politicians, or experts, always knew what was right. I would easily accept everything they said without questioning or thoroughly examining it. I thought that doing so was a sign of respect for authority and following the rules. But life has taught me that power and authority don't always come with honesty or wisdom. There were times when I discovered that those in power exploited the trust of others for personal gain. The decisions they made weren't always for the common good. From then on, I understood that it's important to think for myself, ask questions, and verify information. Skepticism doesn't mean you oppose everything. It means you know how to protect yourself from manipulation and mistakes. I've learned that the greatest trust should be placed in myself. Listen to opinions from various perspectives, but never forget to use your mind and intuition to assess the situation. There's nothing wrong with asking questions or requesting evidence, because true respect isn't blind obedience. It's the ability to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. 10. The fear of growing old no longer haunts me. I once saw old age as a terrifying specter. I feared the days of poor health, the dreams left unfulfilled, and the loneliness as loved ones passed away. But when I actually entered this phase of life, everything turned out differently from what I imagined. Instead of fear, I found a beauty that youth could never offer. wrinkle on my face is a mark of the challenges I've overcome. Every silver strand of hair is proof of the years I've lived with joy, sorrow, and growth. I no longer chase distant goals or worry about how others perceive me. At this age, I found a peace within myself that I never knew existed. Old age gives me the opportunity to enjoy the simple things I once overlooked. Leisurely breakfasts, afternoons listening to the sound of rain, or simply watching life pass by. I've realized that old age isn't a time of decline, but rather a time to slow down, listen more to myself, and learn to appreciate what I have. The fear of aging is natural, but when you embrace it as an inevitable part of life, you'll find it's not as frightening as you once thought. Old age is a journey, and I'm proud to continue walking this path with all that life has given me. Life is a journey, and every stage brings its own lessons and unique beauty. When I look back, I realize that what truly matters is not the wealth or titles I once achieved, but the moments I lived authentically, the relationships I nurtured, and the peace I found within myself. At this stage of life, I no longer race to prove my worth or try to please everyone. I choose to slow down, savor every moment, and devote my time to what genuinely makes me happy. Life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful, and old age is not the end, but a new chapter to love, learn, and share. If you are reading these words, I hope my lessons can inspire you to live with a wider, gentler heart. Remember, happiness is not far away. It lies in the simple things around us, and in how we cherish life each and every day. If you find this video useful, inspiring, and motivating, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our upcoming videos. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment with the number 1. And if you feel the content wasn't quite right, comment with the number 2. Your feedback helps us improve and deliver better content. Thank you for taking the time to watch.